let's be honest. Will, next time that you want to slap somebody, let's do it in a pop of color. I don't know. Like, the suit wasn't giving it to me. We all saw it happen live on television. Will Smith pranced up on stage and slapped Chris Rock in the face and then proceeded to sit back down in his seat. But the question is, why? Why did that comment strike so close to home? Was there other things that were going on in the background that we don't know about, that we have to take into consideration before we analyze what really happened? Now, if you guys don't know me, my name is CRayneG, and what I talk about here on my channel is usually fashion, beauty, and lifestyle. So for me to talk about this is a little bit out of the norm. But the reason why I thought that it was pertinent for me to talk about is because the fact that we could view this from many different angles. Was Will Smith out protecting his wife? Was she a damsel in distress in this very moment? Was he showing his brawn? Do women, specifically Black women, need to be protected in this kind of manner? But also the fact that, what does it do to the societal, how do I put it? Societal stereotypes, let's just say. This is how Black men react. Did Will Smith just prove that the stereotype is correct? Or is it that somebody poured salt on an open wound and the reaction was warranted or potentially unwarranted, but based off of previous experiences or open wounds, was this warranted? I think for us to understand this a little bit more, we have to go backwards in time. So this is not the first time that Chris Rock has made a joke about the couple or about these individuals. Actually, at the Oscars in 2016, Rock made a specific comment in regards to Jada Pinkett boycotting the Oscars, making some kind of joke about, well, Jada boycotting the Oscars is like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. Like, I wasn't invited in I wasn't invited in the first place. Now, when Jada was asked to comment on this statement that was made, you know, a couple of days later, she completely just brushed it off. There seemed like there was no ill will there at all in regards to the statement. She said that she had essentially bigger fish to fry. Jada and Will have both interacted with Rock on other projects as well. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Madagascar, a couple of these things they've also worked together on. And he's also made other jokes about them as well on, I believe was it David? It might have been David Letterman that he made a joke. I'm gonna look it up right now actually. Yeah, it was the late night show with David Letterman that he made a joke about, you know, the success of Will and his whole family, saying that they're taking all the roles in Hollywood and that his children are taking roles from Rock and all of this kind of stuff. Now, let's talk a little bit more about Jada and Will Smith. Now, we all know that Jada has been very open with her issues with alopecia. She made a specific post about, okay, well, you know, mama's just gonna have to shave it down because I'm not going to be out here looking like I have a brain tumor. I think that was something that she said on her Instagram post, which to me personally, for somebody that felt so offended at the Oscars, well, wasn't that a little bit offensive to say to people that are dealing with cancer? Like, we all have our own struggles, so you do have to be a little bit more cognizant of what you are saying out in the public. So Jada, you know, you can't be out here calling the kettle black. Will and Jada also have their little talk show where they talk about their marriage, which personally I don't understand. They say that they're in an open marriage, then Will turns around and says things like, oh, she's never cheated. I I personally don't get it. So if you guys can let me know down in the comment section below, can you guys explain it to me? Because I completely don't understand it at all. Now, I know as a woman, my hair, it means something to me, but at the same time, those of you that have known me for a long time, I've always been the one to like kind of express my personal sense of style or fashion through my hair. So like for right now, I have like the side, the one side of my hair kind of blonde with the rest of it black. It's kind of my thing right now. It's breaking. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to keep it that much longer. We'll see. I'm going to talk to my hairdresser about it, but I'm, you know, cutting my hair, shaving my hair. I have Justin Bieber haircuts. I've had great haircuts. I've had bad haircuts. So I understand that for some women, their hair is a sense of femininity for them. Although personally for me, it's not something that I associate with my femininity. Well, before we get into that topic, let's actually talk about what was said by Chris Rock at the Oscars on live television, which was completely inappropriate for him to say about a woman struggling with a medical condition. Although I understand that in the moment making jokes, things can be said that potentially shouldn't be said, but he said that he looked forward to seeing Jada play G.I. Jane in the upcoming G.I. Jane film #2. Because in that movie, she has no hair. Jada rolled her eyes at the comment, and then Will had to come in and defend her, which consisted of him walking up on stage and slapping Chris Rock in the face and proceeding to go back and sit in his seat and say repeatedly, "Keep my wife's name out of your mouth." We saw during a break, or we heard during a break, that a lot of people went up to Will, consoled him, went up to Jada, consoled her. P. Diddy tweeted online that we'll handle this like family at the gold party. And I think that's a very interesting statement, because although what Chris Rock said was completely inappropriate, I do not know if it warranted a full-out fight, or it wasn't a full-out fight because Chris Rock did nothing in retaliation to being slapped, which I'm actually very proud of him for doing, but Will Smith asked for a fight on live television. Like, imagine if Chris Rock decided to just like, boom, mic drop, and like, boom, boom. Like, what would happen if we completely watched them just brawl on live television? Now, of course, because of things that have happened at like the Super Bowl with Janet Jackson and things like that, we understand that there's a little bit of a lag in terms of live television, so they probably would have cut it off. But I think that that's what Diddy said has some kind of validity in terms of how we look at how Will reacted in that situation. To slap a man with your open palm, we all know that is extremely disrespectful. He did not go up to him and say, "Okay, let's square up, bro," or, you know, we'll talk about this later or whatever. He decided to go up on the stage and slap him in his face. And it was loud, okay, you guys? That man put his force into it. He meant it. He was triggered. He was triggered by either what was said or Jada's reaction to what was said. One of the two. Let's just be honest. Will was triggered. But at the same time, I think that as grown people, when we're fighting for equal rights, when we're fighting to say that black men are not a stereotype, that, you know, Black Lives Matter, and that people don't have to be afraid of a black man, that, you know, he's not a harm to you, that you can't go up on a platform like that and act in that kind of manner. No matter how hurt, no matter how triggered you are in that moment, that is not something that is appropriate for you to do. There are so many ways that you could have handled that situation. Now, of course, not everybody has the self-control to be able to, stop themselves from doing that. But that is not a trait that is associated with people of color or people of melanin or purple. That is not an association that should be made. But to me, this situation allows for that excuse to be made in the future. That no matter how wealthy you are, no matter how many times you are invited to the White House, no matter what you drive, no matter how many movies you act in, you still act in a certain manner. So the Oscars proceed to go on, and Will ends up winning an Oscar for his role in King Richard, which, by the way, I was obsessed with that movie. I cannot stay awake through a whole movie. I have to watch a movie like 4 and 5 times before I actually see the whole movie, but that one I was like as glued to the television for the whole thing. And I want to read, and that's why I grabbed my phone, and it's slipping off my leather pants that I'm wearing right now. But I want to grab my phone, and I want to read to you what was said, or some excerpts from his acceptance speech after winning his award. So this is what was said. I want to apologize to the Academy, and I want to apologize to all of my fellow nominees. Will said, "This is a beautiful moment, and I'm not crying about winning an award. It's not about winning an award to me. It's about being able to shine light on all the people, the entire cast and crew. Rada. I want to skip to another part that I feel like is very important. So we have the beginning part where he apologizes, and then he turns around and he says, I look like the crazy father, just like they said about Richard Williams, but love will always make you do crazy things." So on one side, he is professing his love for Jada Pinkett and their open relationship, or their open marriage, because it's not an open relationship, it's an open marriage, which they have expressed multiple times. I think they actually expressed that earlier in the Oscars as well. But with Regina Hall, but also him comparing himself to a man trying to pave the way for 2 young women that were essentially never supposed to be where they were in that moment in time. I don't think that we can create that parallel between Will Smith and Serena and Venus's father, Richard. I think that's a crazy parallel for you to be drawing there. And it seemed to me in that very moment kind of like an excuse. And I'm sorry to say it, but it seemed to me to be an excuse for what happened. The apology should have stopped at apologizing for your actions instead of continuing with the but. And this is something that I hate. If somebody's going to apologize for something that happened, then just apologize for what happened. You don't need to continue to make excuses as towards why you decided to do it. You don't need to explain it. Simply, I understand what I did. I understand that it was wrong, and I apologize for what happened. Anyways, I feel like I've been rambling, so I am going to cut this video off, and I am going to turn it over to you guys to let me know what you think about what happened. I may get a lot of hate on this. I'm not taking anyone's side. I think that there's a lot of different ways that you can look at this in terms of, Black women being looked down upon at all times, and Will came to her rescue in that very moment. You can look at it from the perspective of the Black man. You can look at it from the perspective of professionalism. There's just a lot of different ways that we can twist and turn this story. And unfortunately, it was a series of unfortunate events that happened. But like, let's be honest. Will, next time that you want to slap somebody, let's do it in a pop of color. I don't know. Like, the suit wasn't giving it to me. Like, come on. If you're gonna walk up on stage like a boss, then walk up on stage like a boss in like a bomb ass Tom Ford suit. Like, come on. Anyways, I'm not here to talk about fashion and make sure the suit fits. But I'm not here to talk about fashion today. I was here to talk about kind of what happened and the different ways that we can look at it. Anyways, until next time, you guys, we'll talk about fashion.